Hello and welcome to the next edition of the BriefingsDirect Voice of the Customer podcast series. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Interrover Solutions, your host for this ongoing discussion on IT innovation and how it's making an impact on people's lives. Our next Inside Story examination of security best practices focuses on building a security operations center for cyber defense. We'll now learn how Zayo Group in Boulder, Colorado built a state-of-the-art global security operations center as it expanded its international managed security service provider practice. Join us now as we hear directly from Mike Van Vakaris, the Vice President of Managed Cybersecurity at Zayo Group, on the build-out, best practices, and end results from this impressive project. With that, please join me now in welcoming our moderator today, Serge Bertini, Vice President of Sales and General Manager of the Canada Security Division at Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. Hi, Serge. I'll now hand it over to you to delve more into this use case.
Thanks, Dana. Good morning, Mike. How are you today?
Good morning, Serge. Great. Thanks for asking.
Hey, Mike. This is for us like a continuous of our discussion that we usually have on a weekly basis, and lately even when we meet at the airport. So with that, you and I have talked many times of importance of MSSPs, global SOC, but for our listener, I want to take them back on the journey that you and I went through to get into the SOC business and what it took from you to build this up. So if you could start a little bit describing, first of all, Zayo's business, and what made you decide to jump into the MSSP?
Well, that's great. And let me just say thanks again for the opportunity. And I love our chats, and I look forward to letting you know how we got started. So essentially, Zayo Group at a glance is a global communication and infrastructure provider. We serve over 365 markets. We have 61 of our international data centers, on-net, off-net, and about over 3,000 employees. Zayo Canada required a SOC to serve a large government client that required really strict compliance, encryption, and correlational analysis. Upon further expansion, the SOC we built in Canada became a global SOC, and now it has the opportunity to serve international customers as well. Inside the SOC, you'll find things such as FIPS 140-2 security standards. We do threat hunting, threat intelligence. We're also doing machine learning, all in a protected A facility via 5-zone SOC. This facility was, as you know, we've talked many times, it was not easy to build, and it was a journey. And I think that's something obviously, we obviously have talked about many times in person, Serge.
Yeah, I mean, Mike, this what you guys have built is state-of-the-art facility, and to me, what I'm seeing this is how it helps you attract more customers, because not only you can have a critical infrastructure into your MSSP, but now you can attract customers with much stringent security and privacy concern.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our opportunity to go back, I mean, really Zayo is in a very unique position now. We've grown the brand very aggressively through organic and inorganic activities, and we're able to offer a holistic and end-to-end security to our customers, both connectivity and non-connectivity. And I'll give you an example. So within our core, we'll have multiple firewalling, DDoS technologies, now all being protected and correlated by our state-of-the-art SOC, as you described. So this is a really exciting and new opportunity that started over 2 years ago with yourself, and you know very well with what you've done for us. And now the opportunity is to really turn and pivot what we built here and take that out globally.
One more question on this. What really made you decide on ArcSight, and what did you see in ArcSight that was able to meet your long-term vision?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it wasn't an easy decision. We've talked about this openly and candidly. We did a lot of benchmarking exercises, and obviously HPE, ArcSight, in the end, and we looked at everyone without going into detail. Your listeners will know who they are. But we needed something that was multi-tenant or multi-tenancy. Okay, so the single pane of window view, we were serving multiple customers all over the world, and that allowed us to scale without allocating a tremendous amount of CapEx investment and ongoing OpEx support infrastructure and also resources inside the SOC. So that was key for me, and that was on the business side. The business case was well supported. Things like I talked about FIPS compliant. We had a very, very strict industry regulation working with a large government customer. So out of the box, a lot of the vendors that we were looking at didn't even meet those requirements. Another thing I really liked about ArcSight when we did our benchmarking is the event log filtration. I mean, there really wasn't someone else that could actually do the filtration at the throughput and the capacity that we needed. So that really lent itself very well. And what I'm talking about there is just making sure that you are getting the salient events and kind of filtering out, the non-critical alerts that our analysts don't need to be looking at. That was very, very key for us. And something that you and I have talked about, I'm very open and about this, we've talked about a lot over the years, is the SIOC services. As a company that knew we needed to build our own SOC, protect our own backbone, offer those services to our extended connectivity customers, we enlisted SIOC services very early to help us with everything from incident response management, building up the wiki, even hiring and helping us retain critical skill sets in the SOC. So, and I'll finish with this point. Really, from an end-to-end perspective, this is really why we went. It wasn't just ArcSight, and I'm open about that. HPE offered us a turnkey solution to really get us up and running.
Mike, this is great. I mean, this brings me to the next, the comment that you and I have been sharing a lot. I mean, in this market, what I'm seeing a lot, and a lot of our customers that are your customers now, their biggest challenge is people. Okay, the drive toward MSSPs, just like you, because there's a lot of people setting up MSSPs, and they're like, yeah, I'm an MSSP, I can do everything for you, but the investment that you made is the big differentiator, because it's not just the technology, but it's the people and process. And when I look at the market and the needs in this market, is the lack of talented people in there. So why don't you tell me a little bit more about like how in your environment you build your process and the people, because you've already talked about how we help you from a SIOC perspective, but if you can drive a little bit more first on the people and what you had to do yourself to build the strength of your bench. And then later on, we can talk a little bit more about SIOC and how we can put all of this together for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, what started as a single tenant, if you will, like I said, ultimately needed to go international very quickly. So, humble beginnings to an international capability. So it's a great story. And so for us, you nailed it on the head. SOC, the technology is obviously pertinent. You have to understand your use cases, your policies that you're trying to use and protect your customers with. So we needed something very modular, and ArcSight work for that. But within the SOC, I'll talk maybe about some challenges and what we're doing today. Our customers really require things like customized reporting and even customized incident response plans that are tailored to meet, their unique audits or industry regulations, people, process, tools, or technology, as they say. I mean, that is the lifeline of your SOC. In terms of what we do or what we've done, one of the things we've realized early on, you really got to focus on everything from your, triage to incident response to your kill chain processes. So this is something we've invested significantly in, and this is where we believe we actually add a lot of value to our customers. And as you know,
it's not just a logging capabilities. You guys went way beyond providing just the eyes on the glass to the red team and the tiger team and everything else in between.
Let me give you an example. So within the SOC, we have SOC level 1 all the way to 3, and then we even have threat hunting. So inside we do things, as you know this very well, and your audience would as well. Threat intelligence. We're actually now using machine learning technologies. We have threat hunting, predictive analytics. We're now moving into UBA, so user behavior analysis. So remember the way, like I talked about, SOC level 1, level 2, level 3. This is a 24/7, 365 facility. There is 5-zone SOC for enhanced access control, man traps inside, 2-factor biometric access control. So it's a facility that we're very proud of and that we love showcasing.
Now, what is interesting is, like, you are a very modest person, but in the span of 2 years, you've done a lot. I mean, you started with probably one of the largest mammoth customers, but one thing that you didn't really talk about is that you're also drinking your own champagne. So tell us a little bit more about, because Zayo, like you said, it's a pretty large corporation, very diverse and global. So talk to us about the integration of Zayo into your own SOC too.
Yeah, absolutely. And customers always ask us this, well, great, we get what you're doing, we understand it. And like I said, we have all kinds of fiber, Ethernet, large superhighway customers, I'll call them, right? Massive data connectivity, and Zayo is well known in the industry for that, obviously one of the leaders. The interesting part is we're able to turn and pivot not only to those customers, but we've also now are looking, what we started off to do is start securing our own assets, and not just the enterprise, but now the backbone. So you're right. Some people say, eat your own dog food. I choose also the moniker of we sip our own champagne. So not only do we offer the same, we protect our customers from threats and unauthorized data exfiltration, et cetera, but we also do that for ourselves. So we're talking about a global, multinational backbone environment.
That's pretty neat. What sort of threat are you starting to see in the market? And then, because this to me brings me to your next capability into the hunting space. How first is what do you see in the market, and B, more importantly, how you and your team is starting to prevent some of those attacks, or be aware in advance of what is coming down the pipe?
Well, it's a great question, and you know this very well. We talked about it. It's a perpetual problem. So what we've done now is we're doubling down, and we invested in what's called an ethical hacking team, which is the whole white hat, black hat piece. So proactive in trying to, I won't say break into networks, but certainly testing the policies, the cyber frameworks that companies think they have. We go out of our way to make sure that that is actually the case, and we'll go back and do an analysis for them. So where do I see the market going? Well, some things like you'll know very well is we see a lot of ransomware. We see a lot of targeted spear phishing, which I'm sure you know really well. The reality is, and things are just getting worse. And I always talk about this as no longer an IT issue, but it's a business problem. People now are using very crafty organizational behavior style tactics of acquiring identities and mapping them back to individuals in a company so they can have targeted data exfiltration by fooling or tricking users to give up passwords or access and sign all types of waivers. And you hear about this every day somewhere, that someone accidentally clicked on something, and the next thing you know, they've wired money across the world to someone. So we actually see things like that. Obviously very private in terms of where we see them, how we see them, but we protect against those types of scenarios. Gone are the days where companies are just worried about their CPE or even cloud firewall. The analogy I say, Serge, is if you don't know who's knocking at the door, how are you going to protect yourself, right? So you need to be able to understand who's out there, what they're trying to do, to be able to mitigate that. And that's when I talk about threat hunting and threat intelligence.
No, I couldn't agree more with you. To me, what I see is the partnership that we build between Zayo and HPE, and that's a testament of how the business needs to evolve. what we've done is pretty unique in this market, and we truly act as partners, not vendor relationship type of situation. So with that, can you describe a little bit how our SIOC team was able to help you get to the next level? Because it's a time to market at the end of the day. So if you can talk about best practices that you've learned and what you have implemented, that would be also great.
We grew out to be an international, SOC and now practice. Started off, like I said, one large RFP customer. So we had a time to market issue compressed. We needed to be up and running, and after awarded, I think we needed no more than 12 months, and that's fully turnkey everything. When we started this journey, as you alluded to, we knew we couldn't do it ourselves. So we knew we selected the technology, we benchmarked that. We went to the Gartner quadrant. I think I've talked about why we chose. I probably left that out. We were always impressed that ArcSight over the years, if not a decade, has been in that magic quadrant. So that was very impressive for us. But what really stood out is what you alluded to, SIOCs. We enlisted what you alluded to, SIOC services, essentially the consulting arm of HPE, to help us build out our world-class multi-zone SOC. And that really did help us get the time to market. I mean, in this case, we would have been paying penalties if we weren't going to be up and running, and that did not happen. So what SIOC did essentially is come in and assess everything that we talked about earlier. They stress tested our triage model, incident response plan. They helped us on the kill chain. They helped us with the wiki. And what was really nice and refreshing was actually they helped us find talent here locally to where our SOC is located. And that for me was actually also very critical. And quite frankly, that was a differentiator. No one else was actually offering those types of services.
Amazing. So, Mike, I know we have time constraint here, but to me, next is how is all of this benefiting you at the end of the day, and where do you see the growth in your business coming for the next few years?
Great question. Yeah, no, it's been a great journey, Serge, and obviously we know each other now for years, and we truly are a partnership, a testament to that for sure. We could not have done this on our own. We're fortunate enough that we've learned so much now in-house. Not to be a pessimist, like I said, we're living in an interconnected world, and I always say, like it or not, we're about to automate that world with the Internet of Things and always-on mobile technologies, and everyone talks about pushing things to the cloud. So the opportunity for us is exciting because I believe in a complete, free, open digital world, which means we're going to be in need for a long time to protect companies as they move their assets into the cloud. They continue to do mobile workforce strategies, and we're excited about that. So we get to be a partner in all this ecosystem of the new digital era, right? And I think we're just getting started. So I think the timing is perfect. It's exciting, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to see a lot of explosive growth. We've already started to see that. And now I think it's just going to get even more and more exciting as we go on.
One more question that just came to mind. In terms of operation, I mean, you've talked about automation, you talk about artificial intelligence, you talk about SIOC. How is that helping you optimizing your operation and ultimately benefiting you financially?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I mean, how much can you talk about? So anyone who's out there who's built a SOC knows, I mean, you're only as good as your, like I said, your people, process, and tools. So we got our tools, we have our processes, but the people. So this is something that I would probably tell all your listeners that would know and are about to go down this journey is that cyber talent is not cheap, right? And there's the SOC analysts have a tough job, right? So the more we can automate and more we can give them to, there's a big push now in AI, which really is machine learning and automating and creating a baseline of things that you can do and creating a pattern, if you will, of repeatable incidents and understanding that ahead. We're now also working with that technology, right? So obviously ArcSight is the engine to the SOC for correlational analysis, ESM specifically, but outside there's peripherals that tie into that. So you're right, absolutely. So it's not just about having human capability, but it's also augmenting them with the right technologies and tools so they can respond faster. They can get to the issue. They can do a kill chain process quickly. And quite frankly, from an OpEx perspective, we can free up the level 1, level 2 talent and move them more into the forensic space. That's really the vision of Zayo, right? So we're working with technologies, including ArcSight, to plug into that engine that actually helps us free up the incident response and move that into forensics and, like I talked about, proactive threat hunting and threat intelligence. That's where I see the future. In fact, for us, that's where we're going.
Amazing. Mike, last comment, and this is, I'm going to put you on the spot on this one, but what you learned over the last few years, and if you would have to do this all over again, what would you do differently, or what would you do?
I would beg for more time. I can't do that. I mean, it was tough. It was tough. There was days that we didn't think we were going to make it. And I look back, and like I said, we're very proud, and we love showcasing what we built. It's amazing, world-class facility. Obviously, what would I do differently? It's a good question. I think I probably would have been we probably spent a little time, second guessing ourselves, trying to get everything perfect. And this is just being very intimate here. It's never going to be perfect. It's a living, breathing. A SOC is living and breathing. It's really all about the people inside and the processes they use, right? Because the technologies work. Obviously, yes, doubling down and getting the right technology, understanding your use cases, as we say, to understand what you have to, what you're trying to achieve. But not trying to make it perfect, and just getting out there and being a little bit more flexible and making correction. I think in our case, because it was a large government customer, the regulations that we had to meet, we built that capability first time. We built this thing from the ground up properly, and as painful as it was, now we can turn it around and learn from that. So I think, in hindsight, do we have to have everything perfect? Probably not. But looking back and the compressed schedule, the being audited every quarter, and getting this capability ready, I think put us in a better place for the future.
Thanks, Mike. Mike, kudos to you and your team. I've worked with your team for the last 2 to 3 years, and what you've done is short of a miracle, because what you've built is definitely. I mean, what you guys have built is a top class MSSP with some of the most stringent requirements from the government. So and it shows now, like when you guys talk, when you guys present to the customer, and then even when we do joint calls to the customers, I mean, we are definitely an extension of each other's, because we are just feeding you the technology, but how you have implemented it and put it together into your people, process, and technology is fantastic. So with that, I really thank you, and I'm looking forward to the next few years, or the next multiple years together to be successful and bring all our customer under your roof.
The partnership that we talked about, we doubled down on that. I think that's probably the most important. If you do endeavor to do this, you really do need to bring a partner to the table. You guys have helped us you scaled us globally, cost savings, accelerated launch. That actually can't happen through a world-class partnership. So in that, I also look forward to working with you and serving both of our customer bases and bringing this great capability out into the market.
Thank you, Mike. Hope you have a great day, and then talk to you very soon again.
You bet. Thank you, Serge.
Well, I'm afraid we'll have to leave it there. Thank you, Serge. You've been all listening to an inside story examination of security best practices that's focused on building a security operations center for international cyber defense. And we've learned how Zayo Group in Boulder, Colorado, has built a state-of-the-art global security operations center as it expanded its managed security service provider practice. So please join me now in thanking our moderator. We've been here with Serge Bertini, Vice President of Sales and General Manager of the Canada Security Division at Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. Thanks so much, Serge.
Thank you, Dana. Have a great day.
And also a thanks to our special guest. We've been here with Mike Van Bakaris. He's the Vice President of Managed Cybersecurity at Zayo Group. Thanks so much, Mike.
Thank you, Dana.
And a big thank you as well to our audience for joining us for this BriefingsDirect Voice of the Customer Digital Business Transformation discussion. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Inter Arbor Solutions, your host and moderator for this ongoing series of HPE-sponsored discussions. Thanks again for listening, and do come back next time.